And here we are. It's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the money in Ethereum. What is it? What do we do with it? Is it going to go up in value? That sort of thing. I'm going to cover Ethereum in as depth as anybody would need to know. And we'll just start with I am not a huge fan of Ethereum, and even though I hold it, and it will go up. So for all the people who are here for price predictions, ideas, and all of that, we can do this. Okay, we can do the I'm not financial advisor thing, so I can say whatever I want to say. Ethereum, by everybody's metrics who I listen to that has any, sound advice and sound thinking on the chart and where it's going and what's been going on. People are saying with this cycle, Ethereum around $10,000. That would mean that it would triple from its current price, and some people are saying by December, because typically the cycle would end around December, January. However, a lot of people believe that the cycle is extended into the first quarter of next year because of the manipulation that we had for a couple of months where everything was tanked and artificially depressed, suppressed, whatever, by 60% for those couple of months, which was the great pickup buying opportunity, guys. Great pickup buying opportunity. So working on that idea is that it will be extended somewhere into like February, March for the cycle. And everybody is saying $10,000. I'm shooting for maybe $8,000. I figure it depends a lot on what Bitcoin is going to do. If Bitcoin hits, 100,000, 120,000, then certainly Ethereum is going to be 1/10 of that. You figure that's roughly how things pair up. However, Ethereum has a few notable things. Everyone's all excited about their patch that they put through that is burning Ethereum tokens with the hopes of making Ethereum deflationary, as to more is being burned than is being created. Has not happened yet, but with that, there was of course a boost in price, and there's a Ethereum 2.0 towards the end of the year, and I believe in it, not confirmed, but in December they're going to switch to proof of stake as opposed to proof of work, so they won't need miners anymore. And then sometime shortly after that will be Ethereum 2.0, where they're going to, they were going to up the transaction capacity from currently it's like not very much. It's like less than 50 transactions a second to hopefully many times more than that. So if all of that goes to plan, there is no reason why we're not going to see a $10,000 ETH somewhere around there. So is it a good buy? Sure. If the market's taking a little bit of a dip, throw some money in there. If money is your only thing, obviously, you invest in things to earn some money to gain financial freedom, as freedom being the bigger goal, really, than the money is just the nice bonus. But certainly investing in Ethereum is not a bad play. It's big enough where you have the big guys, the Amazons of the world, the Grayscales, the BlackRocks, the everybody else, investing in Ethereum with the likes of Bitcoin, which is your digital gold. Bitcoin is the store of value. There is nothing else that can compete with Bitcoin. Nothing. It is the best at what it does. It will always be the best at what it does because it started first. The earlier start you get in a proof of work system where you have to mine for new blocks, the earlier you start, the more robust and the more secure the entire network is. So if the exact same thing as Bitcoin were to start today, it would not have the security that current Bitcoin does, just by the nature of how it works. That said, Ethereum is a completely different deal. It is not a store of value, not even close, as we'll get into. Ethereum is basically an application or a program that runs on a blockchain where the code is in the internet, housed on servers, and you can connect other little applications of the blockchain to the Ethereum pipeline. And that is what Ethereum does. You could almost kind of look at it as like being sort of the IBM in the early computing days is what Ethereum really translates to. where they don't do it the best, but they were the first. They were the first to do these sorts of things with computing, and Ethereum is one of the first to do decentralized applications using blockchain. And that is what Ethereum does. Why Ethereum has any value at all is because you can plug in all sorts of applications, you can register NFTs, you can do these things with Ethereum. Bitcoin was never designed to do that. It never will be designed to do that. People will fork off of Bitcoin to do all of that stuff, but Bitcoin itself is not going to have the sort of decentralized application ideas that Ethereum does. I shouldn't say never, because we are dealing all with computer code that can be changed, although it's very hard to do that in Bitcoin's case. So Ethereum being the first out the gate for decentralized applications, the first working one, anyways, the first working one, gives it the huge benefit of being first to market now for several years. The ones that have come after it, like Cardano, is kind of, you had Ethereum Classic, and then Ethereum forked into Ethereum that we have now, where they're having the applications and all of these things on the chain. Cardano was started around that same time, and they haven't done anything yet. We're hoping for that next month. So Ethereum is the only one, really, that people are using. And we'll get into Solana. Solana is a very newcomer. Solana does it too. But really, you have Ethereum. You know, people, it takes time to build coins, and it takes time to build applications for things. And the only thing that was really available and out there was Ethereum. They call them ERC20 tokens, where people plug in their NFTs and they attach their smart contracts and all of these things. And how Ethereum, you know, generates currency and all of that is they charge us gas fees to use their backbone or their network. You can kind of look at it like a toll bridge. You want to get on the Ethereum chain, you got to pay the toll. And that's what it is. And it's not necessarily the amount of the transaction that you're doing on the Ethereum chain. It's just paying the toll. And that fee goes to the people who mine the tokens for Ethereum to use. Okay, so I think we covered pretty well the basics of Ethereum. We can look at its price chart and its history. It doesn't really matter, though, because Ethereum, there isn't anything to compare it to. It is its own deal. I mean, it's basically like a long time it's worth nothing, and then all of a sudden people start using it and it gains value, right? All you can really garner from it is, I think, like the beginning of the year, Ethereum was less than $1,000. It had its all-time high 3 or 4 months after that at $4,500. It quadrupled and, you know, basically went up 200% a month for 3 months, which is pretty astounding. And, you know, and even before that, the year before that, it tripled or quadrupled in value the year before that. It has been a very, very good money maker, despite, you know, having a $3,000 price tag or a $4,500 price tag. It still doubles, it still triples at the same rate or close to the same rate as other altcoins that might, you know, cost you $15, you know, or maybe like a Dogecoin, which costs you 25 cents, you know. Typically, you see those larger gains where something will 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10x when you're talking about something that's worth like a dime or a penny. And people, when they put $1,000 into the market, it just goes straight up, you know, with only $1,000. You typically don't see that with something that's worth many thousands of dollars. Ethereum does it. And the big reason is because it is being used. If you want to make an application for the blockchain, you pretty much have to use Ethereum. Or you could get into Solana. We'll talk about that a little bit different. I mean, Solana's brand new. It's only been out for like a year, right? And it does take time to build these applications. So that's why Ethereum will continue to go up. The big problem with Ethereum right now that people hate, including myself, one of the reasons I despise Ethereum, is anything you want to do on the blockchain, you're looking at a minimum of like $15 to just do something. I had to sign a contract, a smart contract, which effectively is me putting a check in the box and hitting the button that says sign. And that goes to the Ethereum blockchain so it can be recorded on the blockchain. And it was a $15 transaction fee. Okay. That was almost more than what I was actually purchasing that required the contract. There are many, many people who are run YouTube channels and they do similar things and they do price predictions and all of this, and they're getting into NFTs because who wouldn't? The NFT market is skyrocketing. And they had to take a step back because in order to register one of their NFTs, which is, you know, a little GIF that they probably would sell for 25 cents or something, just a little picture, little JPEG, it was getting close to $50 to register it on the Ethereum network. That's Ethereum for you. And all of those miner fees used to go to the miners. All of those fees were to the people who are cranking out more and more and more Ethereum, because you make that transaction, it goes out there, and it goes to a node, and then it sends it off to the miners. And the miners take a look at it to make sure it's valid, and they all have a little consensus, and they all add it to the next block. So when the next Ethereum coin comes out, it's going to have the transaction, it's recorded into the blockchain. And then they get the fees for that. All right? The most wealthy people in the planet, it's not Vitalik Buterin, the guy who runs Ethereum. It's got to be the miners. Doing $15 to $50 on a basic transaction that should basically be free, right? Oh, it should almost be free to do a transaction like that. That's how much that they're getting paid for it, for every transaction. That moves us up into the next problem that people have with Ethereum, and that because it's an older chain, and it's old is a relative term. It's been around for 5 years, right? It can only do a few number of transactions per second, and that really slows it down when you're talking about applications where if you try to put Facebook on something like Ethereum, it would just melt down because of all the clicking and all the things that go on Facebook. There's no way that Ethereum would be able to handle it. So they need to open it up so they can scale as bigger and bigger projects go onto Ethereum. And that is the idea. The supposed rumor is that transaction fees will go down. And that is going to happen because when they go from a proof of work, or they have miners, to a proof of stake system, everything is going to work differently. You know, we'll see. We'll see. All I can say is every time I've tried to use it, I've been really disappointed because I can't do what I want to do because transaction fees are just too high. All right. And, you know, that's a problem. I mean, people complain about Bitcoin being like $10 or $5 or $10 a transaction for moving Bitcoin stuff around. And it's like, we got the Lightning Network where it's basically free to transport stuff, and it's almost instantaneously. But yes, if you want to use the Bitcoin main net and transfer funds, if you're transferring $100 million from one place, from point A to point B, I don't think that you care that you have to pay a $50 fine to do that, and that it takes 14 minutes for that block to get registered to the blockchain and where the funds end up, because it's as secure as secure can get. With Ethereum, I don't know. That's its deal. As like I said, people are here for where it's going. There is no reason that Ethereum is not going to go up in price by the end of the year. The estimates out there, I mean, 10,000 is the low ball. I always will be bringing forth the low ball information because my personal looking at stuff is even lower than the low balls. I'm at like around 8-9K. Most people are around 10, but there are guys out there who will say, you know, Ethereum by 40,000 and by Ethereum at 40,000, and here's how. You know, Ethereum at 20K, and you know it's certainly possible in the market. It is. I don't see how, but you know, if their patch that they come out with going to proof of stake is super fantastic, expialidocious, sure. But there are some problems, and we'll get into that as we head into the bad, or maybe the ugly. It's going to be one of the two. Because, you know, the idea, we'll get into the philosophical idea behind blockchain, is essentially starting with Bitcoin because it was the first. The essential reason for blockchain existing is not so people could have smart contracts, is not so people could put a JPEG on the internet. It was for people to have sound money. That is the reason that we have. And it's so that we're taking our independence and our freedom, and we're taking back our sovereignty from the banksters and from the Federal Reserve, from the IMF, from these world powers, really, that just want to be like little vampires and take everything that they can out of you. That's what it's designed for. So we got our metrics of decentralization, where we don't have one person who controls the entire thing. Okay, that is a fundamental aspect of crypto blockchain, right? That is it. And Ethereum is the antithesis of that. Completely centralized, getting more and more and more centralized as the years go by. More and more and more and more and more and more and more centralized. Whereas blockchains typically will start centralized because they're getting their start. They have to mine coins, or they have to do a proof of stake thing where they poof them into existence. And then as the coins get distributed, as things get mined, as more people start mining up around the world, it gradually gets more decentralized. That is how Bitcoin started. That's how Dogecoin started. That is how all these things start. Ethereum, not so much. It kind of started with, having some miners out there that are mining coins nonstop, and then we're going to get rid of the miners and we're going to go proof of stake. And so the 10 people that own 60% of the available Ethereum have all the stake. Okay? And we'll get into the numbers as to who owns what with Ethereum. But make no mistake, it is not a decentralized platform by any means. By any means. It's actually incredibly fragile when you realize that most of the nodes for Ethereum reside on Amazon Web Services. Not to say that Amazon Web Services are bad or anything, but it's like, so if Amazon has a bad day, what's going to happen on Ethereum? I'd have concerns about that. Well, let's look at, where did Ethereum come from? I want to go look at, where did Ethereum come from? Apparently it spawned from Vitalik Buterin's brain when he was like 17 years old. Now, I am not a believer in Hallmark movies. I am not a believer in all of these wonderful things that people teach you in Hollywood, that if you just try, you can do anything you want to do, and all of this. And 17-year-olds can rule the world, and I don't buy any of that. So Vitalik Buterin apparently developed this stuff when he is 20. And good old Peter Thiel gave him $100,000 to go develop it, and that's where it comes from. Now, people who aren't familiar with Peter Thiel, it seems he's mysteriously around before Facebook exists to give Zuckerberg money. He's there before PayPal exists to give Musk money. He's just always said, boy, every single revolution, I bet if you look back far enough and you look at the inventor of fire, there's Peter Thiel giving the inventor of fire money for his invention. Just amazing that all of these things are all connected to these same people like Peter Thiel. He's not the only guy, of course, but it's just funny how his name comes up. And good old Vitalik Buterin, because any 20-year-old kid can just come up with the next world-changing thing. Now, maybe it's possible. I am not one of those dreamer people, though. I'm also not a person who will disregard everything that I know about people less than 30 years old. Okay? I'm not going to disregard everything. How is somebody that's that age capable of running a company like that, as well as they do, as well as Ethereum is working? I don't believe it. And we have examples. And we have another young guy over here Mark Zuckerberg, you look at his bio and it's like, oh yes, well he programmed Facebook while he was in college in Harvard. And he was just meant it to be a Harvard thing. And then Peter Thiel came along and said, you know, we should release this to the entire world. And then you find out Mark Zuckerberg hasn't done anything since Facebook, and he's also he's a Rockefeller. Huh. Oh, you gotta make movies about Zuckerberg though. It's just brainchild, you know. The next guy who comes out and makes the next world-changing thing is going to be like a fetus in the womb. And they'll have to hold the microphone up to the woman's belly. And it'd be like, what's the fetus think about this crazy new invention that he created? Right? That's the way that it's going. It has to be younger and younger and younger and more fantastic. And in my opinion, it's so that the same face is there for a longer period of time. That's my own personal opinion. Again, a lot of this stuff is just, you know, my own personal opinion. You guys probably think that, oh yes, there is Doogie Howsers out there everywhere creating just the next latest and greatest blockchain things. Like there is no other kids on the planet that are programming video games, or there's no other kids programming blockchains. It's just Vitalik Buterin is just the best one out there ever. Which is why he needs to patch it every 6 months. I don't buy the whole story. I don't buy anything about it. Nothing. Now, as we look back into the history also of Ethereum, beyond the seed money that Peter Thiel gave, when they got the project up and running, they had what's called a pre-mine, which is also antithetical to anything blockchain, where you mine up as much stuff as you possibly can. Proof of stake, they just poof them into thin air, right? But a pre-mine is where you mine up a whole bunch of tokens, and then you give them to yourself. And then you mine up a whole bunch more tokens, and then you sell these tokens as a promise that they will be worth something. You call that a security. Okay, that's what that security is. You're selling these tokens like a stock, promising your investors that someday they will be worth something. Okay, that is what Ethereum did. Now, why isn't Ethereum in trouble with the SEC and the government? Probably because those early investors all received free Ethereum. No proof. I'm just going by what makes sense. Because right now the SEC is, of course, as people know, are involved with XRP, who sort of did the same thing. All right? Except XRP came out a year later, and maybe the old Ethereum is before the statute of limitations. Maybe. Just, I don't know. Thing is if you take out Ethereum, there's nothing really else to support it, and it's kind of like too big to fail at this point. I would call it that, because there isn't a suitable replacement. So that's fishy. Now that is huge warning sign, alarm bells, when you've got a 20, now the guy's 27. Vitalik Buterin is 27, who's running, he's worth, you know, $1 trillion or something with Ethereum. And 27, yeah, sure, he's totally level-headed and grounded like a 50-year-old guy would be, sure. Okay. So you backtrack to when Ethereum came out, and Ethereum Classic, you would have been 20-something, like early, like 21 or 22. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Now we're going to look at the centralization of Ethereum. More than 60% of Ethereum nodes run in the cloud, mostly on Amazon Web Services. This article is from 2019, 2 years ago. I would bet it's 80% now. I can't find any up-to-date information, but I see no reason that it would go down, because I think you need to stake something like 15 Ethereum or something, 15 or 30 Ethereum in order to run a node. So you're talking like $100,000 to run an Ethereum node. Yeah, people don't have that kind of money. You know how much it costs to run a Bitcoin node? Nothing. There might be a registration fee of $5 in however many Satoshis, 2,000 Satoshis or something, like $5. There might be. There is to run a Lightning network. It's $5. I know that. So we're all here's the cloud. 5,499 on Amazon Web Services, and then self-sovereign, meaning the guys who own 100,000 Ethereum probably are running their own node, right? So that they can make sure that they have absolutely 100% most accurate, most secure data possible. Probably. That's like nothing, right? Even adding all of these together, only having like 9,000 nodes, that's not that great. And that they're all on Amazon Web Services. Where are they all located? America. Boy, I wonder if America has some problems with people, because, you know, America does like to get into, likes to do a little fisticuffs around the world, as you might have heard with the whole Afghanistan thing. If that's a bad idea to have your crypto blockchain worldwide decentralized apps running on a centralized Ethereum network, I wonder, that may be not a good idea. Maybe not. I don't know. Here it tells you where they're all the servers are located. They're all cloud servers that are, yeah, they're all connected. So there's with that. Who are the Ethereum's main competitors? I don't want to go there yet. I want to go to this one. ETH holdings of the 10 richest Ethereum addresses, and this is from August 2nd. So this is very up-to-date data. Let's see. According to Noisy Sentiment, the 10 richest Ethereum addresses, excluding crypto exchanges, right? Because they don't really count. They're just holding on. A crypto exchange has got 1 million coins just to hold on to so that they can make trades. They're not investors. They're not holders. So the 10 richest Ethereum addresses own 21 million Ether. 21 million Ether. 10 people. The top 10 exchange addresses own 4.6. So 10 people, individuals, own 21 million Ether between them. And the exchanges, the top 10 exchanges, only own 4.6 million Ether. In the past week, the whales have been increasing. Okay, so Ethereum whales. Now we got the top 10, and we have the exchanges. The top 10 own 21 million. Now we're going to go to the whales. These are outside of the top 10, but they own a massive amount. Ethereum whales, which hold between 10,000 and 1 million ETH. 10,000 and 1 million ETH. Now own a total of 60.5 million coins. This is the highest amount in this category. So 60 million coins are by the people who own between 10,000 and 1 million ETH. 60 million coins. And then the top 10 had 21 million. Okay, so you're at 82 million roughly with the change there. 82 million coins are owned by the whales. 82 million are owned by the whales. A literal handful of people. Literal handful of people. Well, now, we're going to have to go look here, and we're going to look at CoinMarketCap. If you want to know a little bit more information about coins, CoinMarketCap. And it tells you the market cap and how many coins there are. All right. So we had 82 million coins that were held by the whales. So like 60% of supply. We'll take a look here. We'll take a look. Circulating supply, 117 million. Circulating supply. All the Ethereum that exists right now that is getting exchanged, obviously miners are cranking out more all the time, but you're talking peanuts compared to what's already been pre-mined. Almost 2/3 there. 2/3 are owned by whales. Whales, 82 million are owned by whales. So you take 82 million off of this thing, you're left with what? 25 million? 30 million? 40 million. We're left with 40 million. So there's only 40 million coins out there for you to buy some, and 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 you to buy some. 2/3 of the entire Ethereum supply, circulating supply now, circulating supply, is owned by whales that have between 10,000 and several million Ethereum each to their very own. I bet some of the guys in the SEC probably have some of that. What do you think? So there's really only 40 million ETH that are out there. Actually take away some because the exchanges. That's probably another 5 million. All right. Then you've got the rest of a lot of it's going to be staked, which really isn't going to be touched. So then you really only have a couple million ETH out there that people are playing with, buying and selling and trading, and all the plebs get to, you know, go in there and make 300% profit on their ETH, as opposed to being one of the pre-mine guys who got it for free and has sitting on, you know, 5 million ETH to themselves, right? And they, yeah, of course. Now here is the problem that I have with Ethereum, and the reason everybody should have a problem with Ethereum. Max supply of all of the coins in existence, nobody knows. Now, my question is, how is that even possible on a blockchain? Wouldn't the blockchain record how many coins there are as it goes forward? Not if you're trying to hide how many coins there are, they wouldn't. Now, if you're trying to have something that's going to be any sort of a store of value, or retain its value, or have any value, you have to know what the maximum supply is. If you don't know what the maximum supply is, you can't base it on anything. How do they know with EI 155 or 159 or whatever the thing is, the patch they put in that burns Ethereum? As something is transacted, everyone's like, hooray, look at all the ETH getting burned. What if the max supply is 10 trillion? Does it really matter that you're burning Ethereum, you're burning $100 million worth of Ethereum every week, if your max supply is 10 trillion coins? How do we know the max supply is not 10 trillion coins? We don't. Why isn't it programmed into the blockchain to know how many coins you are? You seem like if that would be one of the most important metrics to track on a blockchain. Don't know. So all this idea and this garbage and this lie about Ethereum is going to be deflationary, no. It's going to be deflationary in comparison to what is being mined by the miners, because the mining cranks out so many thousand a day, and more than so many thousand are being burned in transactions. So they say it's deflationary. Well, then it's going to move to proof of stake. So you don't even have to mine to make Ethereum coins. You don't have to mine. You don't have to validate your transactions back and forth and add stuff to the blockchain and make people actually do work to create Ethereum. Oh, no. Vitalik Buterin is going to butane fart Ethereum into existence, and then he's going to sell more nonsense. And because it has an actual use case, and it's really the only thing that's out there, or has been the only thing out there, people are going to buy it. Are we going to know how many coins Ethereum has in existence? My guess is no. My guess is they will just keep creating them out of thin air and not really tell anybody, because they can do that. They are the Federal Reserve of the blockchain at the moment. Okay. Told you guys this is going to get ugly. And all you Ethereum lovers out there, you can put your comments down and say, oh, Max is a bad man. He's a bad man. He doesn't like Ethereum. No, it pains me to invest in Ethereum because I know it's going to go up in value as much as I hate the project. Okay? And there is no, until recently with Sol, okay, there was no alternative. You understand? I know that technology is going to go up in value better than nothing, right? There is no alternatives. Now, hopefully Cardano gets its act together and there will be a Cardano alternative, although I think that is mostly centralized too, and it is proof of stake also. But then you have Solana. which is, again, proof of stake, but they use proof of history and they use some other things. And Solana is designed to be decentralized. Solana is designed to, as it gets bigger and bigger, to spread its wings and to become more and more and more and more and more decentralized with minuscule fees. Is one of the reasons that Solana over the last few days have been really, really, really pumping, because it turns out that some new NFT play market, they teamed up with Solana, and it's basically free to mint your NFTs on the Solana network. So that would account for Solana going up by 15% day after day after day after day. Today, the market is red. Solana was still going up. So there is now an alternative. And I'll tell you where my money is going. It ain't staying with Ethereum. As soon as I have another option for my money to get out of Ethereum, it is going to go to something else. Because this is nonsense, and it's completely antithetical to what blockchain is supposed to be. Freedom, and independence, and sovereignty, and choice, and all of that. That's what blockchain is supposed to be. Max supply, no data on max supply. 60%, 65% of all Ethereum is owned by a handful of people. We don't even know how many total. I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. And it's run by a 20-year-old. I don't believe for a second the guy runs it. I think he is a programmer who knows what he's talking about and can fake the part. Buterin sounds like a phony last name, like Elon Musk. You find out Elon Musk, you do a second of research into that guy, you find out he never invented anything. People just bought companies for him. And they installed him as CEO. Mark Zuckerberg. Who are the Winklevoss twins? We don't have any mention of them in his Wikipedia article, his propaganda piece. Peter Thiel, why is he associated with every single thing that explodes and takes over the world as some massive adoption, and he just happens to be there? Like I said, when they created fire, there's Peter Thiel. All right, who are the Ethereum's main competitors? Now, this article is from 5 months ago. Cardano. Cardano is not a competitor because they don't do anything. They're a speculative asset. They're supposed to do something. Next month, according to the guy, I don't remember his name. It probably says somewhere in here. Hodgkins, I think, is his name. I'm pretty sure it's Hodgkins. Next month, on his word, we're going to get smart contracts out of Cardano. Hopefully, we'll see. Make a lot of people happening. Cardano, of course, though, you've got 45 billion coins. So it's not like it's going to skyrocket and be worth $1,000 a coin for Cardano, because the market cap can't handle that. Can't handle that. But it's a competitor, and we'll see what they can do. Says here Binance Smart Chain. I believe it. I don't know a ton about the Binance Smart Coin and all of the different things that it does, but I know that a lot of people like it. It's made a lot of money for some people. It is very, 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 very new. Just came out like 6 months ago. Yeah. I don't know why Ripple is on this list, because they don't do anything with decentralized applications. Ripple, if there's any company, blockchain out there that is more centralized than Ethereum, it's Ripple. Ripple owns like 90% of its coins, and it has like 100 billion XRP. Like 50 billion of it is locked up in escrow, or 90 billion of it or something. They finance their company by selling their worthless coins. That's why they're in trouble with the SEC. They're not doing anything. It's a glorified banking software, is what Ripple is. Okay, I know a lot of people think that Ripple's going to take over the world, and good. Put your money in Ripple if you want to. But they say that Ripple doesn't have smart contracts. Ripple doesn't have anything. They're just trying to be a faster Bitcoin, is what Ripple is trying to do. And that's their thing. Polkadot, here's a legit competitor. Polkadot has only sprung up in popularity really in the last year. This one has scalability up to 1,000 transactions per second. My guess is that it doesn't do anywhere near that. Otherwise, people would be using it more. And that is the big thing, is when you get up into transactions per second really don't matter too much unless you're a currency, right? Where you've got millions of transactions taking place all around the world, especially for global, right? All around the world that need to happen and be written to the blockchain, right? You don't need to write things to the blockchain instantaneously, but it needs to be done fairly quickly. Otherwise, you're always playing catch up, right? So having transactions per second is going to be a big deal for something that is being used actively like the dollar bill. Also, with smart contracts, you need to have that transaction level per second, because if you want to have, say, like a medical record software, we'll just say, for instance, a medical record software that works like a regular application, it just happens to exist on a blockchain. Well, every time you click back and forward and you type in some data into the medical record, anytime you sign something, if you have 1,000 users doing that all at the same time, you need to have the scalability. You need to have the transactions per second. Ethereum is never going to do that. I don't see it. Of course, hopes and dreams and everything, and they like to patch every 6 months. But Solana can do that. So this is all they list. They don't even have Solana listed on here. So you see how short the list is. Cardano is not a competitor. Binance Smart Chain is a competitor, but it only very recently came out. People, I don't know how many apps are really on it and actually actively using Binance Smart Chain. I'm certain there's a few, but it's very, very new. Ripple, not even in the game. Polkadot, yes, but they're fairly new. So really, Ethereum has Polkadot as a competitor. That's really for about the last year. That's who they're competing with, is Polkadot. Until now we have Solana. And Solana was really listed on exchanges really about a year ago, and I don't know why there hasn't really been bigger news on it, because it's better than Ethereum in basically every way. And you look at, like, this is its page for its partners. And when I say mean better, I mean it's decentralized. The more people use it, the more decentralized it gets. There is, we can look at CoinMarketCap for Sol. Where do we have our thing? I don't know. Where is it? We'll look over here. I think it's 1 billion coins. Total supply is 500 million. I think it's 1 billion total. And currently there's 500 million that are out in supply. This is what happens when you do things. This video is going to be too long for me to do breaks and cuts and all of this stuff. So I believe Solana is around 1 billion, which I'm still fine with. You get up to like 100 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion. It's like, nah. You can only get away, if you're looking at investments, I wouldn't even touch any of that, right? Stuff that has that high of a market cap. But if it's something where the total supply doesn't make any difference whatsoever, like basic attention token, really the supply doesn't make any difference. That's just how their economy works. Or something like the graph. The amount of coins in existence doesn't matter. You really have to know your coins. But if you don't know your coins and you're looking at investing in something, look at the total supply and then multiply the price by the supply, right? And that will give you a good target estimate. I mean, you look at like Theta. I think Theta was rolling around, you know, a few cents or something like that. And people are saying that it's going to go to $5. And you're like, look at the supply, guys. Or Dogecoin to $10. It's like, look at the supply. Look at the supply. You look at see if that's realistic. XRP, look at the supply. You know, what is $10 times 100 billion coins? So we're going to have a $10 trillion market cap for XRP this cycle. Is that what we're supposed to expect? Okay, this is very simple stuff. This does not require financial degrees or anything. Just look how many coins there are. And like I said, there are some outliers where it really doesn't matter how many coins there are. Like Solana, you might consider to be a little bit of an outlier because as an application layer, doesn't matter how many coins. I mean, yeah, as an investment, it kind of does. But here's, I think, where they did some partnership with some NFT deals, and boom, there goes the price. But essentially faster, better in every single way. And you look at here, as we're scrolling down, these are all the partners that are currently partnered with Solana. And I'm sure they're adding all of the time. They also have a feature if you go to Solana's main page where it's like, what is Solana? You know, the company corporate page. At the bottom, it takes you to a thing where you can try to break Solana, where if you have an algorithm or you can try to DDoS it, is what they have a link. It says here, DDoS Solana, try and break us for transactions per second. And that's what they've been actively doing. So they can handle all sorts of attacks on their system, and they can handle the transactions per second. And it doesn't cost $50 per transaction to put a little check in a box and hit the sign button when you want to publish something to the blockchain. I mean, Ethereum reminds me of AT&T and long distance fees back in the old days. Oh, you want to call 20 miles away to the next state? Oh, that's $17.95 a minute, right? It shows you how old I am. I remember the old days of the rotary phones, where you had your phone service provider and your long distance provider. Yes, so we're still scrolling here for all of the people who are working with Solana. So, as I mentioned, looking for places for my money to go. I think that at the price point, Solana is going to be the faster runner. It is. I did dollar cost averaging yesterday, and I'm like, well, Solana's kind of run. It probably needs to cool off. So I went for Polkadot and put the $100 into Polkadot, and Solana continued up another 15%. And you know, that's just how it's just how it is. And right now, currently, it's up 14.1%. So it goes to show you can't time the markets, and nobody knows for sure what it's going to do. You look at this. I mean, this is absolutely a parabolic line. I mean, on the 24 hours, it doesn't look that drastic, but even on the 7 days, it's like, whoa. It looks like it did pull back from $80 roughly to now it's pulling back to $72. So if you want to take the gamble ride on Solana and hope that it continues to go up for at least a little bit longer, you can get in. It just had a little bit of a dip by about $10. So that would have been about 11%, I guess, going from $80 to $71. Yeah, $71. And it's on its way back up now. So if you want to take the gamble on Sol, I don't think that if you're planning on holding long term like you would in Ethereum, I don't think that there's any way you can go wrong on Solana right now, or Solana. Not until it pushes $100, all right? And I'm not saying buy up to $100, not doing investment advice. I'd say that if you get in for anywhere at this point around the $60 mark, you're doing good. If you catch it on a dip and get like $60, 60, 65 even, you're doing good. If you're dollar cost averaging, don't even care about what the price is. You just throw your $100 in and forget about it till next week or next month or whatever. Okay, and it'll all average out. As far as if you currently hold Ethereum and some of the things that I brought up and what I was saying kind of bother you about the blockchain and Vitalik Buterin, how centralized it is, how the whales own most of Ethereum, how nobody knows what the supply is of Ethereum. I mean, how do you have a blockchain and nobody knows how much money there is? What are you guys, the Federal Reserve? If these things bother you and you want to move out of Ethereum, I'm going to recommend what I would do personally is I'm holding on until they do their proof of stake thing and they go to Ethereum 2.0, which is supposedly January, February next year. And I'm just holding for right now. Okay. Holding for right now. And I will continue to dollar cost average into things like Sol and things like Polkadot. And whichever between those two seems to be the faster runner, they will be getting my Ethereum money when the time is right. But the time is not right now. The time, a lot of people love Ethereum, a lot of people. And it's going to continue to go up a lot. All right. You're talking tripling, quadrupling. Some people say quintupling or going up, 10 times. I don't buy that, but some people say that. And that's what we have with that. That is Ethereum. That is everything behind Ethereum, what Ethereum effectively does. And yeah, any comments, questions, anything like that, throw them down in the comment section. As always, like and subscribe. I'm a new channel, and any little bit of feedback, even if you hate me, go ahead and put it in there, because it will help me out. And with that, guys, we are going to be out of here. See you next time.